I'm here joined with co-founder of Labor, creative director, and all-around good human, Dex Black.
Hey, what's up?
How are you, Dex?
Fine, happy to be here doing this again with you.
Yeah, it's been about a year since we first started Labor.
That's crazy.
Since you were last on camera. What would you say you've learned this past year? What has changed for you?
Well, a lot has changed, and I think everything is for the better. About learning, I'm not sure how much I've learned, but I feel it's more like I have changed my disposition and I'm more opening to learning now than I was before. And it's not like that I felt that I knew everything I needed to know, but the specific areas of personal growth, I don't think I was ready. And now I think I'm ready to be more open in like all aspects of my life. And I think, I'm not sure if that was like a learning per se, but I think openness is the biggest thing. And I'm definitely looking forward what's to come.
Oh, that's great. And we're here now to talk about adversity. That's something that a lot of people experience it in different ways, have different definitions for it, and I think it's a constant theme in everyone's lives, but yours in particular, I know you go through a lot of it, and through your whole lifetime, and you've come out of it strong, better, and like you're saying, you've been steadily growing. So, I guess we'll start by asking you, what is your definition of adversity?
I've been thinking about adversity a lot, and I don't think I ever have to like define it ever. I don't know. I think adversity is just like that resistance life puts your way. It's like kind of that struggle and that difficulty, something that makes you feel sometimes overwhelmed and requires from you to like really battle against it. Like it's such a strong resistance, such a strong struggle that you have to like really fight your way out of it most of the times. Or I don't know, maybe it's a lot of it about endurance, but overall I will equate adversity to resistance.
And when I say the word adversity, what would you say is the first thing you think of, like moment in your life?
The first moment in my life of
Yeah.
adversity. um, I think my childhood. I think like my childhood was the most difficult part of my life. I think there was a lot in there. I felt like super lonely, and I don't think there's any part of my childhood that I didn't feel lonely. I always felt like the odd one out. I always been like the weird one, the different one. Like I never fit anywhere. I remember not having any friends in elementary school, and I'm not like being dramatic. Like I literally didn't have no friends. Like I remember teachers feeling bad about me and trying to be my friends, but like obviously they were adults and I was a kid. Like yeah, no, I don't think I ever really learned how to socialize like from an early stage. So yeah, there was a lot of things in my life that at that point that were a challenge. So I think probably my childhood was the darkest period of my life, and I tried to like not really look back, because that's probably the most adverse season in my life.
And how did you overcome that period? Or have you?
That's a good question. I don't think you can ever overcome what happens to you as a kid, because you're in such a formative stage that everything that happens stays with you forever. They become scars and they mold your personality. Like, I can tell you that the adversity I faced when I was a kid is what made me so introverted and so unable to connect with people. And I mean, it's still here until this day. And it really takes a lot of me to connect with people, to trust people. What I learned, I guess, is to forgive. Forgive. Like, I first got to understand why things happen the way it happened and why people behave the way they behave. And then it took me a long, long time, but I learned to forgive them all and accept them as flawed humans who were doing the best they could with what they have, and they themselves were going through hardships and adversity, their own adversity. So there was not one person who tried to do anything to me maliciously. Like, it was just people reacting to life and reacting to their own struggle. So I learned to be grateful for, I don't know, for taking care of me one way or another when I was a kid, and learn to forgive. Like, yeah, say like, okay, they're adults, they made mistakes, and I forgive them.
What would you say right now is maybe the most? What is the most adversity you're dealing with now, current day?
Well, we're recording this interview at a period that seems to be like the other side of adversity, like the end of that period of adversity, where I think the last year and a half has been like super challenging, probably the most challenging period of my adult life. So right now I feel like relief. It's like when you're climbing a mountain, like it's so steep and so difficult and it takes so much of you, but once you reach the summit, then like everything is downhill from there. Like, it's a moment that you can't stop and look around and like really enjoy, because it doesn't matter how much committed you are to climb up, it's still hard. And even it's a fight. So once you're up there is when you can finally breathe and relax and take a minute. And I feel like I'm at that moment right now where I can just relax and start looking around, appreciating things, and see what's next, and try to find myself again. Take a breath, take a breath, and just breathe and try to connect with myself again.
That's great, and I'm really happy that you've been able to climb that mountain.
Feels like that mountain climbed on me is more like it.
It's inevitable that adversity is going to come up again in your life. It's going to keep coming up.
I know.
And do you feel like everything you've been through so far, all the adversity you've overcome, has only made you more prepared to overcome it in the future? And
definitely. I don't know. I feel like adversity has been in my life. Like, most of the times, there's always a constant battle with things, with life. I can look back and feel like any stage of my life, things have come easily. Everything has been a struggle, and I learned to appreciate it. I feel like that's always a blessing because it builds character. And even though I'm not perfect and there's a lot of things I want to work out about myself, I like the person I am, and I'm certain that I wouldn't be the way I am if I didn't have those things in my life. So I take the good with the bad, and it gives you perspective. I think you can enjoy more the good times when there's adversity to contrast with. So I know it's gonna come again at any point, and I guess it just makes you resilient, you know? Actually, a few years ago I didn't care about anything, and I was very reckless and super super impatient. And after the things in the last few years that happened to me, like it taught me how patient I can be. Like I don't even recognize myself. I actually always pictured you saying that I'm the most patient man you know, and like that doesn't make sense to me because I was the most impatient person I knew, and adversity is what made me patient, and I think that's one of those things that are always gonna be handy and be helpful when the time comes.
So it sounds like adversity is very much can be a positive thing.
Adversity is a positive thing. I think about it all the time. Like, not only from my perspective that I feel like it made me strong
Mm-hmm.
and made me feel like I can handle anything, but I feel like when I have a kid and I overprotect him and I try to give him anything so he doesn't need anything, and I don't want anything to happen to him, but then I feel like I'm doing him a disservice because like falling to the ground and getting frustrated and trying to figure out things is part of learning, and he's not gonna be a resilient, like both physically and emotionally resilient person if he doesn't face his own adversity. And yeah, I mean, my instinct as a parent is trying to give him everything and make his life as easy as possible, but I think it should be the opposite. It should be like, okay, here's your struggle and try to figure out. Obviously, I'm not gonna let him get hurt, but I shouldn't like pamper him or protect him so much. I think it builds character and builds personality.
So many of us always try to aim to find happiness or love, these things that have positive connotations. Do you think that maybe we should strive to find adversity? If there's such a positive effect of it, is that something we should really go after?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think probably the pursuit of happiness is the most pointless pursuit there is. Like, you can waste your life away trying to be happy. I think happiness is a byproduct of you doing things you like or doing what you really want to do, and like reaching the point of your life where you can do what you really want to do is only through adversity, because life is not going to put things on your way right away, so you have to put up a fight. I think I like to think of myself as a fighter, and I always like that spark, that fight inside of people is what I like the most. That's what I like to see on people, and I think you cannot be a fighter or a good fighter if you don't train, and the only one you train in life is like through adversity.
Yeah, I feel like the fighter is an important attribute to somebody to overcome adversity. It's almost necessary. And for a lot of people have trouble overcoming adversity, and sometimes they don't, and they end up in bad situations. You see people all the time, people who are homeless, people who, begging for money.
Right, they're addicted.
Yeah, addicted. They're with the wrong people, the wrong time.
Right.
And they can't seem to get past that hump of adversity. Why do you think it is that some people just can't deal with it the same way? They don't have that fighter, I guess, mentality.
Yeah, being close to people who don't fight is really something I know very well, and I don't know. I honestly cannot explain. I think it comes down to the very basic survival mode where you like have to fight for your life. I'm not saying like every adversity or every situation is going to be a fight for your life, but I'm saying like we as living things have that instinct inside of us. So I don't really understand how there are some people who doesn't put up a fight. And when it comes down to certain things that are affecting your life so much that it really makes a negative impact, then you cannot get yourself out of it. I think is when the fight for your life instinct should kick in, and it doesn't sometimes. I don't know why. Maybe it's for things like I was saying earlier, that what you learn as a kid, like maybe if you don't have enough adversity when you're a kid, you never learn how to deal with it at all. Maybe well-intentioned parents didn't let enough adversity to their kids, and now they're grown-ups and they're on their own and they don't know how to face it because they never did.
Was there ever a point in your life where you really didn't think you'd be able to overcome the adversity? Or did you always know that you would?
I think I always knew I would. I think that's part of what's necessary to overcome adversity, is to trust yourself, to believe in yourself when no one else does. I think that's quintessential. Maybe this answers the previous question, like maybe the people who cannot get through adversity is because they don't trust enough on themselves. And like, yeah, you need to, I don't know, you need to just declare your value and stick to it. Say like, I have value as a person, and I don't care what their circumstances or the people around me think. Like, I'm a human being, I have value, and I deserve better than this. And that's kind of the fuel that you use to overcome adversity. You know, there's this quote, it's a Japanese writer, I obviously don't remember his name because I'm terrible with names, but I love it. I read it when I was a teenager and it stuck with me forever. It says, you must embrace pain and use it as fuel on your journey. And I love it. I think it makes perfect sense. Like, yeah, like life is gonna hurt, that's for granted. But what are you gonna do with that hurt? Like, are you gonna carry it in your back all the time? And like, just weighing you down? Or are you gonna burn it and use it as a fuel to get where you wanna be? And I like that metaphor of burning. Like that fire inside of you.
I love that. I'm gonna try to apply that to my life. We've been talking a lot about adversity as it relates to growing up, dealing with situations in life. But now maybe focusing more on career. For a lot of creators out there who are dealing with adversity when it comes to their job, finding out what they really want to do, going through the motions. Can you talk to some adversity you've had to deal with just, you know, in your career since you've moved to the States, in Chicago and New York, and where you are now, and just speak to the adversity you've had to deal with?
Well, there's a saying in Mexico that job is something so awful that they have to pay you in order for you to do it. So career is always like a complex theme, and I think no matter what you're doing, there's always going to be a struggle, there's always going to be adversity. I think what I've learned is that you have to be stubborn. Like, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to be or whatever you want to become career-wise, you just have to be really, really stubborn. Like for me, like, I want to be a creative director, then, like, it doesn't matter what happened in your life, you have to be really stubborn about it. Like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do, and that's it. Like, if people don't like it, if people don't believe in me, if people don't think I'm skilled enough, if people see whatever issue they might see in me, I'm just gonna stick to it. I'm gonna claim it, I'm gonna decide it. And I'm gonna put up a fight. Like, I'm going to outsmart and outwork everybody, around me, and I'm going to learn from anybody around me, and that's what those are the tools I'm going to use to put up a fight. And other than that, other than constantly learning, it's just being stubborn and speaking out. Like, it's really funny, but they say like the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and it's true. That's how you build a career, by speaking out and like sticking to it. If you want to be whatever you want to be, if you want to be a photographer, then be stubborn to the end. Like, if everybody rejects you, if everybody says you're not good enough, you just be stubborn and say, well, I'm going to do it anyway. And right now I'm starting a new job. I'm really excited about it, actually. And it's my second position as a creative director. And I think I realize it doesn't have to do as much as your technical skills, like your knowledge on specific things. It's more about your disposition. Like, if you want to see the bigger picture, if you want to have like management skills, and I don't know, how you relate with people, and how much you want to be involved with bigger things. I think it's more about that. So that's what I'm gonna say. Like, yeah, the job is gonna suck at some points. You have to keep the goal in mind, be really stubborn about it, and be patient, I guess. Because despite of what media tell us, there's no like overnight success. I read somewhere that every overnight success you've seen has been 10 years in the making, and it's true. It is really, really, really true.
So what are some things you want to accomplish? And maybe short term and long term.
Short term, I want to be like, I want to be really good at what I do. I want to learn a lot. I want to be one of those persons that are super knowledgeable, and that whenever you're in the same room, like, they bring some calm because they have so much knowledge and they know so much what they're talking about, but they're so calm because of their experience. They know how to handle anything, so they never panic. I want to be something like that. I want to be like a role model for other people under me. Obviously, I want to do something bigger and impact people through labor. But in the bigger picture, I want to build a legacy. I'm not sure exactly what that means yet. I feel like labor is part of it, where I want to impact people in a positive way. And I want to do something so good that it's going to stay behind even when I'm gone. And I want to do something so good that my son is going to be proud of it once I'm gone. So I'm really into legacy. I want to build something. I feel like I come from nowhere and there's nothing behind me. Like, I didn't even knew my grandparents, so I cannot trace like anything. So I feel it's like my responsibility to build something.
Let's talk about that legacy. What does that mean to you right now? Like, paint that picture beyond just making an impact.
Well, I feel like legacy is a way to transcend, like to stay here in the world after you're gone, after you die. And the only way you achieve that is through impact. Doing something or creating something so great that stays there forever. And I think that's like all the famous writers, all the famous figures that have come and done something. I think that's legacy. If you can name someone who's dead right now, that's legacy. When people knows you, even if met you. I think that's legacy. And I think legacy is different from fame. I don't want to be famous. I just want to bring something of value. But I think in order for you to build a legacy, that value has to be so great. So I think legacy is more than anything a unit of measure of success, of how much people you can impact in a positive way. And yeah, that's the way I want to measure myself. It's something so big that a lot of people are going to remember for a long time.
How do you impact people?
Well, that's a very tricky question. I think there's many ways to impact people. I think you cannot impact people if you don't connect with them and don't resonate. And I guess another good thing of all the adversity I faced is that that's the way I feel like I can impact people. Like saying, look at me, I'm not special, I'm not anything different. If I could get through so much things and come out better, like you can do it too. And if I can empower people, I think that's the impact I want to have, like empower. I don't know, it's really funny. Empowerment is a word that has always been following me, and it's a word I believe in. And if I could, I would turn everybody I meet into a fighter, into a warrior, and empower them to get through whatever they're going through, and empower them to fight for what they really, really want. Not to settle with, you know, the rat race.
So it's really creating a positive change in their life. You're giving them, whether it's inspiration, motivation, or tool, there's something where
Right.
they take it, they run with it, and they apply it to their life, and their
Right.
life
Exactly.
advances.
Yeah.
That effect.
I always like the metaphor of fire, like I said, and I want to be the spark. Like my legacy, I wanted my legacy to be the spark of that fire for the people who doesn't have it, and for the people who have it already, I want it to be the fuel that makes it bigger, just through inspiring people.
That's great. And really, if labor becomes what we want it to, it has the potential to be that.
Right.
For the small amount of followers we have right now, it's already doing that. And I think it's important that we're doing this for the service, for the impact. And that's it.
That's right. We are really, really blessed of living on this time we're living, that we can connect with so many people, and we have it so accessible. So I think it feels wrong not to.
I'm going to end with one final question, taking it back to final question I used to ask all our interviewees, and I think you answered this question before, but I'm sure it's probably changed since we last did it. And the question is, what is your advice to people on how to live a more meaningful and creative life?
Actually, I don't remember answering this, but I remember we had an interview, so I don't know. One thing I firmly believe is that nothing worthwhile comes easily. Dramatic sound.
Great time.
Nothing that's worthwhile comes easily. So you have to become a warrior. Like, you have to put up a fight. Nothing is gonna fall on your lap, especially not the life of your dreams, not the real things you really, really want. Never settle. Like, probably the worst times of my adult life have come every time I settle, which is ridiculous, because if I settle means that I'm not getting what I want, I'm settling with something less. And still create so much drama and so much trouble that it's not even worth it. So never settle, put up a fight, and be stubborn. Like, really, don't let anyone tell you otherwise, and you know what you want deep in your heart. Listen to that voice and be stubborn about it.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Dex, for sharing your life experience, your thoughts, and really your story. Adversity is going to be, I think, a very popular topic. Again, everything we talk about is something everyone can relate to, and you have overcome it in many ways, and no doubt you're going to continue to overcome it because you are that fighter. And that fighter instinct, that fire, is something we want other people to have as well. And hopefully we do our job, we can empower them to be fighters in their own lives.
Damn right. Punch adversity in the face.
Alright, well thanks Dex, and until next time.
All right.